There is no guarantee for success, but there are ways to get closer to it when you do the right things. Who you surround yourself with is just as important as what you do. Finding the right people, the right classes, the right activities, and taking the right tests are all decisions that shape your future. Find out more today on Destination University with Dr. Cynthia Colon. Dr. Colon and her guests will give you the tips you need, whether you're a student, parent, or educator. Now, here is your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon.
Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to 30 Teens, 30 Dreams. I'm your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon. And if you are a college-bound teen or a champion of one, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. This month, we're taking a look at 30 teens who've applied to college, have been admitted, and today you're going to learn where Hannah is going to be setting off to come this very fall. We're super excited to get started. And here's Hannah now. She is from Nueva school. She was admitted to Brown. She's an early decision applicant. So she's a little different than some of our others who have been admitted to a number of schools and they'll be choosing. But today we already know, spoiler alert, Hannah's going to Brown. But so valuable for you to understand the early decision process, how she got there, how she decided on that school and why it worked for her. So you're going to meet Hannah in just a second. I want to just give you a quick hot tip before we dive in with Hannah. And that is, as I always say to my private clients, there are 3 things I want you to do. The first is get a family email so that everyone has access, because in the college process, you're going to get a ton of email for years to come until you actually apply. So it's a good idea to just get a separate email account. Once you have that email account, go ahead and head over to collegeboard.org and sign up for an account and get familiar with Big Future. You can search for colleges, you can search for scholarships, and you can even search my favorite tool, which is the College and Career Finder, to figure out exactly who you are, what you love, and what major might be suited best for you. So that's my hot tip of the day. Okay. All right, Hannah, I want to just a sound check. Are you there, ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, we're going to just have a little chit chat with Hannah, and you'll see why we picked her to be one of our star students this month. So Hannah, tell us a little bit about where you are today, where you hail from. Where is Nueva school?
Yeah. So I'm in Burlingame, California, which is just 30 minutes outside of San Francisco. I go to the Nueva school, which is in San Mateo, about 20 minutes outside of San Francisco. And it's a private school, and yeah.
Okay. All right, great. And so is it high school? You've been there since 9th to 12th, or is it even like middle school?
Oh, I've actually been there since pre-K. So since I was 4 years old, I've been here.
Okay.
There's 2 different campuses. There's the lower and middle school, and then there's the upper school.
Okay, fantastic. So it's a true
Yeah.
K to 12. You've been there your whole life, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm excited to have this conversation with you. One, Brown is one of my favorite schools, one of my favorite Ivy League schools. And 2, really mostly for our listeners and viewers, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to the podcast, I really want them to understand what it means to go early decision. And so I'm going to ask you to share with the audience your journey, but just for clarity, those of you who are listening and don't know these terms, there are really kind of a few ways you can apply to college in the fall. One is through rolling admission, which you turn in the application, you get a decision back right, within weeks. Another is early decision or early action, which normally has a November 1st or 15th deadline, and then you hear before the holiday season. And then the final way is to apply regular decision. And then you usually get your decisions sometime in March, early April. So in this case, Hannah decided to apply early decision. So before we get to that, take us back to maybe sophomore, junior year. Hannah, when did you start thinking about college?
I guess in my head, I started thinking about college in sophomore year, but I didn't seriously start until junior year. And I would say in junior year, I basically had a list of things that I wanted in a college, and I had a spreadsheet where I put down like the number of undergraduate students I wanted, like class sizes, diversity, different majors and things that I was looking for in a college. And then I had a book called the FISC Guide, which has a ton of the statistics of different colleges in the United States. And then I was able to list down the colleges that were appealing to me. I had a list of about 20 schools, which I was able to later narrow down.
Oh my goodness. Okay, first of all, I love that she's old school and had a book, an actual physical book.
Yeah.
I like that because I like to turn the pages, and are you one that to make notes like literally on the pages and
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah. And I had a lot of sticky notes throughout. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, most people now, they do their search online, and certainly collegeboard.org is a place that you can do that. There's a number of other places. Now, give us a sense of like, what were some of the things on your spreadsheet that you, Hannah, you were looking for?
Yeah. So I wanted an undergraduate population of upwards of 5,000, because the school that I go to right now is really small. And so I just really wanted a change. I also was only really looking into East Coast schools for the same reason. I really wanted a change. And then I also looked for diversity. I looked at the statistics and I guess the number of Black students, or the percentage of Black students, as well as what else? I also I guess I looked into whether it was urban, suburban, or rural.
Okay.
I really wanted to stay suburban or urban.
Okay.
And yeah, those were like the main things I had.
All right. So this is a good point, because sometimes students, they choose really big schools, and your high school is, small.
Yeah.
But even a large public school might be, you might have, I don't know, upwards of 1,000 students in your class, in the senior class. So going to a school of 5,000, 6,000 students may seem small, but it's actually a nice size school. Okay, so you did that. And if I remember correctly, your major of choice is applied math and finance. So was that on your spreadsheet as well? Did you know, how early did you know that that's what you wanted to major in?
Yeah, in junior year, I was thinking of applied math, and I definitely knew that I wanted a good STEM program from wherever I was going. But like within STEM, I have been like toiling between different majors. But I would say I looked for schools with applied math, but that's actually not that common in a lot of schools. It's more of the theoretical math.
Okay.
So but most schools have finance. So I was able.
Okay, you were able to narrow it down.
Yeah.
Okay, so then walk us through spring of junior year. You have 20 on your list. You've got to narrow it down. So at what point did you narrow it down to 5 or less?
It took me a while. I would say at the end of the summer before senior year, I was able to narrow it down to my top 5. And basically the way I was able to do that is I have some contacts with students that go to the schools that I was really considering. And so I was able to hear from them, as well as watch some YouTube videos, as like day in the life, things like that, to understand more of the ethos of the school and things that you couldn't necessarily just get from paper or from research and all the statistics. I guess that was the main thing that helped me to decide. And I talked a lot with my parents, as well as my school college counselor, to make sure that there could be a really good fit wherever I chose.
Oh, so good. So I'm going to jump to, because I happen to know that she narrowed it down to two schools that were really her top choice. So go ahead and share your experience, because I think you finally went to, and I know we've been in COVID, and there were, maybe you couldn't go to visit until then, but walk the listener or viewer through those two schools and what happened.
Yeah. So I narrowed down to Brown and Columbia, which are two very different schools. But the thing that enticed me about Columbia was that it was located in New York. And I have been to New York a few times, and I just love the campus. And they also have a really, really good engineering program. And then the thing that I really liked about Brown was its open curriculum and kind of the environment and the people that I've talked to there. And so what actually happened was I got to go to a fly-in program with Columbia, which I would definitely recommend doing if a school that you like has a fly-in program. Basically, it's for people of color as well as people with certain financial qualifications. You get to apply earlier than early decision, and you basically have to submit SAT scores as well as like essays, supplementals, things like that you would normally submit in a regular college decision, in a college application. And then if you get into it, traditionally you get to actually fly in, the school flies you into the school, and you get to stay on campus for about like 2 to 3 nights and get to hear more about the school. And it also helps increase your chances of getting into the school because they've taken a chance on you and they've invited you to come to the school. And so I was able to go to Columbia's fly-in, although it was virtual this year. And I got to take some classes with some of the professors and hear from students in applied math major, which I was really interested in. And ultimately, I decided that it wasn't a good fit for me because of their core curriculum, which is very different than Brown's open curriculum. It basically is that it's really difficult for you to switch majors, and it's really difficult. Basically, they have the engineering department separate from the college. And so if I wanted to take, I guess, creative writing classes or classes in the other college, it would be, I would have to go through another application process to do that. And I preferred Brown because of the ability to freely take all the different classes of different disciplines.
Yeah, let me just stick on this point here for a second, because you explained it so well. They're just very different. That's how you kind of started. If you heard Hannah, she said they're very different schools. And so again, to reiterate this point, when I work with private clients, if they're looking at Ivy League schools, I always say, research or let's talk through a Brown and Columbia, and you tell me on the spectrum where you fall, like which one you like more, because those are the polar opposite of the Ivies. Columbia is very structured in their core curriculum. That would be a school that I would have wanted when I was Hannah's age. I like the structure. I like to just be told what to do, what to take, and with not a whole lot of wiggle room. That would have made me perfectly happy and fine. For someone like Hannah, if you tend to like Brown more, there's an open curriculum. You can take nearly anything you want, and you can move from major to major, classes to classes. It's just more, it's a little bit more liberating in terms of the structure. So they're very, very different. So, but that's the beauty of going to visit, or virtually or in person. You get to hear and feel and know what's right for you. So you really thought you had narrowed it down to these two, and maybe had you not gone to the fly-in or done more homework, you might have not really figured that out.
Yeah.
So okay, so you leave Columbia, or again the virtual, that fly-in, and you say now Brown is the one for you. Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Okay, great. And November 1st was the deadline for early decision. Now explain to people what it means to be early decision. If you were admitted, and you were, what does that mean?
Yeah. So early decision is a binding decision. So basically, if you apply to a school early decision, you are committed to go to that school, whether or not you get into another school, because there's also early action that you can apply to at the same time.
Right. Yeah. So you were ready, you and your family were ready to commit if you got in before the holidays.
Yeah.
The decisions usually come somewhere around December 15th-ish. So
Yeah.
for those of you who are watching this. Okay. Excellent. So, all right. So we know you're going to Brown because you got an early decision. And so my last question before we want to see your paraphernalia and your, your rah-rah. What do you think helped you to stand out? I know you said, you told me a little bit about this Invention Studios. We talked about this in terms of like, what was your coolness factor? So not everybody is admitted. Brown is one of the most competitive colleges in the country. Again, spoiler alert, everyone, you probably know that if you're listening or watching. It is one of the top 30 schools in the country. So that being said, even everybody who applies early decision, they cannot possibly take everyone. So what I'm asking Hannah is what she thinks. We can't know what really tipped her over the edge, of course. But Hannah, what do you think helped to make your application stand out?
I think the biggest thing in general was creating a story and having a consistent focus, because I applied for applied math. And so I was able to do that through, I had an internship over the summer where I helped a company to create math games for young students. And then the other thing was Invention Studios, which I think is very different from a lot of other things I could have done. And it's basically a club that focuses on design engineering for social good. And so I worked with a small team for all 4 years of high school to help develop something that would help people with foot drop, which is a common symptom of multiple sclerosis as well as strokes. And so we were able to build physical prototypes and work with the user, as well as apply for grants. And we also won pro bono patent support. And I think that really set me apart, because not many students can say that they did that. And it also showed, it was also an application of math and other classes that I've taken during school.
Yeah, you were saying, I want to apply as applied math major. And also you could show the evidence that you had done some things actually to prove, in fact, that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
Exactly. Great. Well, everyone who's listening and watching, Hannah was one of our SA campers. We call her, she's an alumna of SA Camp. And so can you just, offer any last pearls of wisdom or tips, something that you would highly recommend they do, that's something that you did, or something that you wish you would have done differently?
I actually have an answer to both.
Okay.
I think a piece of advice is definitely doing this essay bootcamp, because starting early is really, really helpful. I started in the summer of after my junior year, and I was able to have a lot of drafts of essays, and specifically my personal statement, I was able to have it pretty well fleshed out, which was really ahead of my peers. And so I didn't really have to stress about writing during the school year. I was more focused on keeping my grades up, and and also I was able to take my SAT early, which was really helpful. Right. And then something that I wish I had done differently is definitely learn more about the financial aid scholarships and like that kind of thing, because with an Ivy League, they don't offer merit-based scholarships. They only have financial aid. And so I applied for financial aid, but I wasn't eligible. And so I have been working to get scholarships, but it's been really difficult. So I would say definitely have a discussion with your parents early on to understand kind of the financial situation you're in, so that you can I guess make an informed decision, as well as create avenues to go to the school that you want to.
Such a very, very good point. And actually, I couldn't have set it up better. Something that we're adding to the essay camp as an option for parents to opt in as an extra is a little bit of the knowledge about financial aid, some tutorials and some how to get some conversations started at home, how to do your calculations, because that's such an important piece of the puzzle. So yeah, that's great advice. Okay, so drum roll, please. Let's see. I want to see what you did here.
Just
Brown. Oh, I love it. Brown.
yeah.
I've been to the campus. It's so great. I love their tradition where you enter freshman year, you enter through the gates, and then when you graduate.
Oh yeah.
I love that tradition. I love that tradition. Okay, well, you have been great. Hold tight. I'm just going to do our little roundup here, and then we'll wave goodbye to everybody. Okay.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, what a great story. So it has a great ending, as you heard. She narrowed it down and picked Brown, and it all worked out. So there you go. If this episode has in any way fueled your confidence or helped build your dreams, please share this episode with 3 people in the next 30 minutes. If you do nothing else today, remember I gave you that hot tip about collegeboard.org. Be sure to go there, get your email set up and all of that. You can also join us on our Facebook group for parents. It's Destination University, just like the podcast. And it's University with YOU because the destination is not university. The destination is you. All right, and as you heard Hannah talk about Essay Bootcamp will officially open April 11th, but you can go there now and fill out an application for a spot. We have limited spots over the summer. You can also get a free essay workshop training. So hop on over to drcynthiacolon.com/essay camp. All right, my friends, this is 30 Teens, 30 Dreams. Stay tuned throughout the entire month of April and hear from different students, their success stories, and what they did right and what they think they would do differently. You don't want to miss an episode. All right, that's all I have for you today. Bye for now. Let's say wave goodbye, Hannah.
Thank you so much for listening this week to Destination University. Be sure to join Dr. Cynthia Colon again and get one step closer to your success.